Hello everyone, this is Cameron Kanizeski, and I'm making this quick video to showcase my changes to my level, the Hampy Campers level for Module 3. And this week I added quite a lot of things. I'm going to have to try and figure out what I added here because it was quite a lot. So first thing, I added enemies, two different types of enemies, the campers and then the cameras. And then when you go in this vision cone, then you are a goner. The level starts over, and then you have to start from the beginning all over again. So the same goes for the cameras here, and then the same goes for the campers. I added a truck prop, static mesh prop, and I placed that throughout the level here and there. I've created a lamppost prop, and I've placed that throughout the level. I made some bush, what is it called? Some bush objects, bush actors, I guess I'll call them, with a trigger, and when you walk into them, it plays a sound effect. In fact, most of these have sound effects as well. So when you walk into a bush, there's a sound effect. When you get caught, there's a sound effect. When you get caught by a camera, there's a different sound effect. I added these alarm triggers. That way, when you go out of boundaries, you're automatically detected, and it restarts the level, and it plays an alarm sound. What else? I also have a death trigger in the cave. That way, when you fall, you die, and it restarts the level. Let me keep going. I added a dead tree prefab. I changed the layout a bit here, so that way the player from here can jump up and out, just until next week when I get some more of the game mechanics in. The level is playable at the moment, but it still needs some more work for next week, and it should be done next week. Right now, the enemies do not move. They're stationary, but their positions represent where I want them to kind of be, and I'll add animations to them next week when we cover that. There's enemies in the tower here. I also added a trigger, well, I actually called it a, what do I call it? I called it a mumble trigger, and when you walk into this trigger, then it'll play a sound effect, basically like grumbles and mumbling. And then I added the some text that gives context to the player and tells them basically what they have to do. So this one right here says, "If I were a jar of honey, where would I be?" And that's because the player is looking for the jar of honey inside the camp. So that just re-explains that their goal is to find the jar of honey inside the camp. The cool thing about that is that when you are in game, I'll show that right now. The text rotates towards the player, and you also heard the grumbling noise. And the cool thing about that is that when you walk into it, it only triggers once, so it can't happen more than once. I added ambient noise sound effects in the background. I added just a lot of things. I added some more skylights here, changed the lights. I added a opening text prompt to tell the player what they have to do. I'm trying to think of everything. So yeah, the death triggers are right there, so that way when the player falls in there, they die. Let me think. Sorry, I want to think about this one more time. Yeah, so the other thing I want to mention is that there is a text prompt here for the jar of golden honey. I created an actual prefab for it. I can't figure out how to get the player to hold it. What I wanted to do is that, you know, when the player interacts with this trigger on the outside, then it would hide this jar of honey, and it would unhide a jar of honey on the player. The problem with that is I'm not really sure how to get that attached to the player properly. So I'd like to get some help with that, hopefully, and then I can add that back in. But for now, I just have this cube standing in for the jar of honey. And right now I just have an alternate way of the player being able to carry objects. It's not ideal, but it's the best way I can do for right now. So basically you hold down E, not right now, but in game. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you right now. Quick play from here. You hold down E. There's a sound effect for when you grab it. So you pick it up, you hold down E, and you walk with it. That's basically how it works. Again, not ideal because it blocks the vision of the player, but for now, that's what I can do. And hopefully next week I can get it set up so that way it just unhides an object on the player and then he's just carrying that object with him. I refined the player path so that way it's more focused. I restricted the player from going anywhere over here on this left side. And there's a death trigger over here so that way the player can't get over here. Right now this tree is down until later on when I can get the animations working, the in-game events. Same with this fence here. I don't have it doing anything because I would like to add a trigger for it that would make it animate and open and move. So right now that's just going to be like that. Other than that, I think that's probably all I can think of. I added a trigger at the end here that, is that the right trigger? Hope I didn't ruin, wait, what kind of, no, I think this is right. Okay. I can't click on it. Okay. That's right. Okay, that's good. I added a trigger somewhere in here that ends the level when the player touches or grabs the cube and touches the trigger back here. So let me play through the level and I'll show you. So there's a sound effect here. First thing I'm going to do is jump in here and die, so just to show what that looks like. So there's a death sound effect. That restarts the level. That's cool. Eventually I would add in-game cutscenes, which I'll do next week. I refined the lighting. So right now you can see that the enemies don't move. You walk in there and it plays the sound effect on enter and on exit. So and ideally I would have enemies walking around here and then you'd have to hide in the bushes. And then you'd have to knock down this tree and go up it. So you'd go up the tree. Okay, so there's that. There's this text prompt. That's for later on. So the player is blocked from going over there. The player can go down that way, but it's going to be difficult. There's some bushes placed around. The bushes currently don't do anything besides play sounds. I'd like to get that hooked up so that way they're safe inside the bushes. I'm just not really sure how to do that right now. So the player can walk over here and check everything out. So right now the player has to go over here. And you'd have to avoid the enemy moving. So ideally from here you'd move over there to this bush. And then you go over here. This camera will be moving back and forth, so you'd have to watch out for it. Then you can go in here. Yeah. Pick up the jar of honey, which is just a cube at the moment, but I have the prefab for it. And it's blocking my vision, which, as you can tell, it's really not ideal. But for right now, I'm just going to avoid touching these things. I'll show you how it works, how those triggers work in a second. Or the colliders. So at this point, the way I want it to work is that the player goes up here and jumps out of the level, back out the way they came, until next week when I can get animations working for the gate, and the player will have to walk up to the gate, and then they'll be fine. They can go out the gate. So yeah, from this point, they'd go down here. Why am I... Whoa. Whoa, okay. That's another reason why I don't want to use this physics object later on. It does block the eye quite a bit. And I died. Ooh, great. Okay, so I don't want to have to redo all that, so I'm just going to move the... I'm just going to move it over here. 1 second. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to copy it, paste it. Just to showcase, because it's not ideal, but it's what I got at the moment. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and move it down here. I just want to show that it works. Oh wait, this might not work with this one, depending on how I set this up. If I grab this, I don't know if it's going to work because I set up the trigger to work with only one type. Oh. Yeah. It worked. Cool. Awesome. So that works. That works on the, I guess I have that on the prefab. I forgot. I thought maybe I did it on the level blueprint. Cool, so I'm gonna get rid of this cube, but that definitely works. So what I want to work on next week is I want to get this bush prefab to work. I want to get the enemies moving. I want to have an in-game event for this tree opening, or not opening. I was thinking about the gate for a second. I want to have an in-game event for the tree falling. Then I want to have an event for this gate opening, and I want to fix this prefab so that way the I want to be able to put this blueprint on the player and then unhide it. Like you touch it and it unhides the object on the player, but I just don't know how to do that right now. So I'm gonna try and figure that out next week. Anyway, so far I have a decent game. I want to add cutscenes and everything to make it a lot better and refine some gameplay stuff, but it works and it plays well. The one thing I need to figure out also is I need to be able to stop shooting. I really like to turn that off. I don't know how to do that right now. So yeah. Anyway, that's my project. Thank you so much for watching. This was a very long video. Yeah, anyway, that's it. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.